It's bringing international relations analyst Professor John Stremlau perhaps to unpack the developments in relation to the coup in Niger. Prof, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.
Well, thank you very much. It's a very confusing situation.
Well, absolutely. And I wonder if you can just give us your analysis at this point. Some people questioning whether ECOWAS is bluffing. If they are going to take action, how serious are these implications for the region at large?
Well, it's a very interesting case study about the Sahel weak states. French have been dominant there for years, but no one wants to lose their lives in defense of what a Niger or Chad or Mali or Algeria that are surrounding the state of Niger. The state of Niger had a democratic election for the first time since 1960 in 2021, and President Bazoum was heading for, we thought, a decrease in violence, which was markedly down for the last 6 months, and was an encouraging sign that the instability of the Sahel at least had a counterpoint. And the ECOWAS is not mobilized for action of some sort, but we're not quite sure what they're going to do or when they're going to do it.
Well, on the back of that, I can imagine the chaos and the anxiety amongst citizens, perhaps also along the borders, given the ripple effects that's set to transpire if action is taken. Perhaps you could talk to us about that, the pending humanitarian crisis as well as a result.
Well, there is another dimension to this whole story, which has been covered in the report by the International Forum for Democratic Studies and the National Endowment for Democracy, which just published a kleptocratic cooperation in Africa. The Wagner Group, as you know, and Prigozhin have been very active in both Mali and in Burkina Faso, and take as their return access to in this case, the uranium mines that were generating 75% of the exports of Niger. It's a very, very poor country. It's one of the poorest countries in the world, but it does have uranium. It's the 7th largest producer, and it's about 7% of world production. And so, consequently, one can imagine that the military coup leaders and Wagner will strike a deal and allow for some degree of stability, but also authoritarian rule that undermines any hope for democracy, which has been the case in Burkina Faso and in Mali and in Chad and CAR. It's a real mess, and I don't think the West is going to respond very well.
Well, there's also a geopolitical shift. We've seen, as you've alluded to, countries that also have experienced or undergone coups, Mali, Burkina Faso, now Niger, moving away from France, perhaps more to Russia. What does that mean in terms of the geopolitical landscape? And we're also trying to explore the possibilities and probabilities of President Bazoum's reinstatement. The junta, in fact, early on saying that they are resisting any plans of aggression by Western or regional powers. Is that a counter threat?
Well, the interesting question is, what is ECOWAS, led by Nigeria and President Tinubu, going to do about it? They were very instrumental in facilitating peaceful resolutions of conflicts in the Mono River region of Sierra Leone and Ivory Coast and Liberia and Guinea back in the early part of this century, and after terrible conflicts. And so there is a desire on the part of African states to, and particularly regional organizations like ECOWAS, to stabilize the situation and to democratize for their own reasons, not because of the Western dictates, but because they are so diverse and And Niger is a very diverse country, although it's predominantly Hausa, as is the case in northern Nigeria. And these arbitrary colonial frontiers need to be erased and integration proceed. But that's not going to happen if the Wagner Group is just interested in exploiting this situation. A kleptocratic cooperation is real and damaging to the people.
Yeah. All right, Prof, thank you for your time with us on the SABC and for those sentiments. Professor John Stremlau, international relations analyst, weighing in on developments unfolding in ECOWAS, perhaps in relation to the coup that occurred in Nigeria. We do know that the deadline for the West African Regional Group ECOWAS set for the military junta in Niger to reinstate the elected president will expire later today. So we'll have to monitor developments and see what unfolds from there on too.